Welcome to WatchJojo Cooking. Today we're going to be doing a chicken broccoli bake. Basically just a chicken breast marinated, and then we'll pop that on top of some veggies. We're going to bake all those till everything's ready, and we're going to finish off with a little bit of Parmesan. I'm going to show you how to do our marinade, I'm going to show you how to cut your veg, and everything in between. First things first, we've got to make our marinade. So zesting our lemon here is going to give it that stronger pop of flavor because the acid's going to break down the chicken, but that will allow for like kind of the zesty flavor to get in there, and it almost has a sweet, almost sour taste. Here we're zesting it before we cut it, because it has more structural integrity while it's together. So here I'm going to cheat a little, and rather than cutting the middle and then juicing, I'm going to cut from the side. And by cutting from the side, I'm using less lemon, but I'm dodging almost all the seeds. And I'm going to do that and that. So as you can see, all the seeds are in the middle here. This is the best example here. And then if you look, I've got like one stray seed here. Here we have a couple of crowns of broccoli. This is full stem. I can actually save these stems for later, use them in a gravy if I'd like. So what I like to do is angle my cut around the base so that they're all pretty small. And that way I just have to go through and break up the last couple of pieces. Anything I don't find is small enough, I can always chop up some more. It allows me to keep some of the stem for that crispness. And I don't want to just start chopping at it willy-nilly, because I'll end up with a lot of this shaving here, which I won't be able to use in the dish. I want to keep my broccoli as whole as possible. You'll notice all that water on my cutting board is because I always wash my vegetables before I use them, because you never know who touched what at the supermarket. And it's just better to play it safe. I use cold water on all my vegetables. It's actually an urban myth that hot water helps clean or sanitize. The heat required to like actually sanitize and kill things, human beings can't stand. Like, will burn. What it is washing your hands in warm water is soothing. So you do it for long enough that you're scrubbing long enough to clean. So like cold water more or less doesn't make a difference. The cold water though is great for the veg because it keeps it firm, but if I were to introduce heat, I would speed up how quickly things are being broken down, how quickly they're gonna become loose, and no one wants any floppy veg. These guys, I'm not even peeling, I'm just kind of dicing, similar style to how we did in our stew episode. So. When I'm worried about something's height, it's getting too tall, what I like to do is leave the last little bit, drop it, then slice it. Today we're using yellow flesh potatoes because they're a little bit more, they're not overpowering. Red potato would be nice too, but I would want to use some sharper, maybe spicier marinades with the red potato for some reason. Just feels right. As you cook more, you get your preferences. Doing our minced garlic, because no chicken dish is complete without garlic. So, I always buy fresh bulbs, so I've got to take the skin off. Easiest way for that. take off your ends. And then I had these refrigerated so they're a little more firm and the skin should just come right off. So what's important is, even though this is a marinade, we want to mince our garlic as fine as possible, because I'm actually going to use the marinade on top of everything at the end. So you might be thinking, oh, but like, it's raw chicken, it's bad. We're cooking everything till the chicken's done, which means everything will have reached a temperature where we no longer have to fear getting sick from like salmonella or anything. So we can use all that marinade twice, which gives us extra value and extra flavor. I don't want this last one. Boom. So I got my 4 bowls. I crushed them. You can use a knife, you can use whatever you feel comfortable with. Crushing breaks them up and releases all those juices. I always crush them, even if I were like to try and like throw this in, say with our stock video, I just threw in crushed garlic, because this is enough to release the flavors. Anything past this is making sure it's well spread. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna mince. This is going in our marinade. So we're doing our marinade for our chicken breast. It's got to marinate for at least 30 minutes in the fridge so it can start breaking things down and adding that flavor. So now we've got our lemon juice. We have our lemon zest. We have several cloves of garlic. Love garlic. Now we're gonna go with olive oil. Not too much, just a couple of ounces. Probably you're aiming for about 50-50 with your lemon juice. And then pepper, probably a full tablespoon or so. Gotta remember, this marinade is doing the chicken, but it's also gonna be spread all over our veg, because we're gonna make very good use of this marinade today. Now a little bit of salt. Salt's the only thing I'm gonna like really hold back on, because Parmesan is gonna be salty, and it's really hard to take away salt, because once it's there, and it's gonna just ruin everything if there's too much of it. There's not really any secret method to get rid of the salt, except for next time, use less salt. As far as like, when it comes to cooking, you can always add more of like anything, but it's really hard to take away a flavor. So you need to make every decision intentionally, and you need to ensure that you're always leaving yourself a little bit of a margin for error, because error happens. It's a kitchen. Final piece here will be rosemary. I love having my herbs fresh. This one's been sitting for a couple days, so you're seeing some of the brownness. This is the catch of buying fresh, is it goes bad occasionally. But we can just pick out the bad stuff. Cool. So I'll grab from where I think it can support me applying a bit of pressure. I'm gonna pull down so I get all my leaves. Any of the strays you can just pick off. The stuff at the tip, you can just pick that off. Boom. Satisfactory. We're gonna do 2 stalks like that for this. And then we're gonna finely mince them. So last time you saw me use a mezzaluna knife on my stock video. This time I'm just using regular knife. Anything works. Mezzaluna knife is just a really cool little tool. See our stock video for footage of that guy. It's basically like 2 curved blades that just have to rock back and forth. So I'm just rocking this guy back and forth. And you You can always use your knife, pick everything up. So I've used the chicken from our breaking down the chicken episode, and I've put in here, I've fully soaked it in the marinade. It's completely covered. I want to make sure that it's completely mixed up. Seasoning is well diverse, well spread out. You can already see the acid starting to change the texture of the chicken. That's your lemon juice at work, everybody. We're gonna let this marinade chill for 30 minutes. Before we put all our veg in here and our marinated chicken, we need to butter this pan so that the veg has flavor. So what I did is I took this pan, which is now piping hot, and I popped it in the oven for just a couple of minutes. Like, I've already preheated my oven for the bake. And so now I'm gonna take some butter, and rather than having to like melt this and spread it, it's gonna melt itself. Just nice, clear, beautiful coating. We're just gonna give this, do some painting here, get some good coverage. This will make it so things are less likely to stick, and also butter is delicious. This is my veg. There are many like it, but this one is mine. And we're gonna move this off here onto the countertop just for 10 seconds while I chop up this butter nice and thin. Almost my fingers. And then again. We're gonna just... This butter is gonna melt all over this veg. And it is gonna be delicious. And there's no two ways about that. Cool. Let's get this guy back onto my pan, my plate here before I damage my countertop and get very sad. So what we're gonna do here, we have our marinade, we have our veg. We know we're cooking this until it's ready. So we're just gonna take this raw veg. We're gonna go, this raw chicken. And we're gonna put it skin up, because if anything's gonna crisp, we want it to be that skin. That skin's gonna be crispy, flavorful, fantastic. This little guy here. All this chicken was brought to you by the Breaking Down the Chicken episode. We're still going. Look at this value, boys. Dinner for days. So I'm gonna make sure I get a lot of marinade, the seasoning, on the chicken there, because it needs to be moist. But then I'm gonna drizzle all over my veg. And now we're down to just chunks of garlic here. And we're gonna get good coverage there. Pew. Cool. And of course, raw chicken. Wash your hands. We're gonna pop this in the oven for 30 minutes. And then when that's done, we're not done yet. We're going to shred some Parmesan fresh for good value. We're gonna top it with that and we're gonna brown it in the last 10 minutes. You don't wanna put your Parmesan on right away because the burning temperature is so low that it'll be totally toast by the time that chicken's cooked. So you're gonna let everything else get there and you're gonna garnish it with that Parmesan. We are grating Parmesan. It is gonna be great. This is just fresh. This is good yield. This is flavorful. I didn't want to add too much salt to my dish. So my trick was I'm gonna add Parmesan afterwards, which is quite salty. So timer went off. We're in our last 10 minutes or so. Chicken is super close to being done. So we're gonna take our grated Parmesan. We're just gonna spread this evenly over the top, making a thin layer. What this is gonna do is it's gonna brown up, it's gonna crust up, get lots on that chicken. And it's gonna add a whole extra dimension here. Back in the oven, 10 minutes, and it's ready to go. Here we have our chicken parm bake. Chicken is definitely done to the touch. It's flaky, still juicy. And our vegetables are nice and cooked. Everything's been marinated, nice and juicy from the bottom with the butter, with the marinade there. We've got that crispy factor going on with like the tips of the broccoli and the Parmesan, which we added in the last 10 minutes. So there you have it. We used some of our chicken breast from our breaking down the chicken episode, and we're able to, with a little bit of veg and a little bit of fresh ingredients, make a nice dinner for tonight.